Hello, everyone, and welcome to another series of our regular Tuesday webinars by the Franchise Talk. Today, we're going to talk about franchises under $100,000, so low investment franchises, and I've got a very special guest today, so I'll present her a little bit later. But before that, I'd like to share a few of my thoughts around the topic and introduce myself for those of you that don't know me. I will share my screen now. So franchises under 100K, who am I? So for those of you that are here for the first time, because I am a regular host and presenter at those webinars, my name is Dani Peleva. I'm your host. I'm also the founder and CEO of a company called Franchise Fame. We are a global franchise marketing agency, and we work with franchises from all over the world. We operate in more than 55 countries and help franchisors and franchisees expand their businesses on the global map. I'm also a published author. My book called Franchise Fame, an insider's marketing guide to incremental growth and soaring success for franchisors. It was published last year in May, and it became an Amazon bestseller, something that completely blew my mind and I didn't expect. If you want to get a copy, a hard copy of the book, you can do that on Amazon, or you can download it for free from our website, franchisefame.com. So as I said, we work in more than 55 countries now on 5 continents, and some of our clients count more than 2,600 locations globally. I've been in franchise marketing for more than 12 years, so I know both sides of the coin. I was a franchisee, and I was also working for a global franchise brand, so franchisor and franchisee side before I actually moved away and founded the agency. So the challenges of the franchising world are very familiar to me. So today we're talking about low investment franchises, or franchises that won't hurt your wallet. Low investment franchises that are actually under $100,000. So how do you actually select what the best franchise is for you? A lot of people who are looking to invest in a business and are not sure on how to select what the best franchise opportunity for them is, read articles, ask themselves many questions. I've summarized 3 of the main points. Of course, there's so many things you need to consider before making up your mind and investing into an actual franchise. But for me, those are the 3 main points that you need to think about and consider when you have your eye caught by an interesting franchising opportunity, regardless of whether this is a low cost or a high investment opportunity. These questions are equally important. I would always say, do your due diligence. Make sure that you get as much information from the franchisor as possible around the training and support that you get. The onboarding part is super important, especially if you want to make sure that you are getting a very strong start and you're hitting the ground running. Of course, the ongoing support by the franchise team and the franchise head office is equally important, because you want to make sure that you operate in an environment that facilitates growth and encourages you to be successful. So that due diligence, making sure that you get all the ins and outs and understand everything that you get for your franchise fee, is very important. Another thing is the break-even point. A lot of people think about it, but do not ask the question. It's okay to ask the franchisor, what is the break-even point? When am I expect to get a full return on my investment if things go well and if I follow the plan? And of course, there's no guarantees, but this is why people buy a franchise on the first place, because it's a business in a box and it's a proven business model that actually works if you follow the guidelines provided by the franchisor. So what is the break-even point is another question you should ask yourself, and also ask the potential business partner you come into relationship with. And that's a normal question. Do not be afraid to ask this question. Franchisors are actually used to answering this, and they usually have a projection, and they know what your first year P&L is going to look like, what your second year P&L is going to look like, when you're expected to break even, what's your projected revenue, and so on and so on. So ask the financial questions. It's not scary, it's actually very important. And point three, it's all about marketing. Because I come from a marketing background, for me, that's very important. When you are considering starting a relationship, and that is a very long-term relationship, because most franchise agreements that you come into are usually for 5 years, 10 years, sometimes even longer. So it is a long-term relationship. So if you're coming to a long-term relationship with a franchisor, or at least considering a brand you want to invest in, you should always ask yourself, what is the marketing support that I'm getting? Some franchises take full ownership of the marketing that they do for their franchisees. So the franchisees have very little responsibilities towards doing their own local marketing. And the majority of marketing is done from the head office for the whole entire network. Other franchises have a mixed model where some of it is done in the head office and the rest is pushed to the franchisees, and franchisees are encouraged to do their own local marketing activities, of course, abiding to the brand manual and brand guidelines. And with others, there's very little marketing done by the head office, and you don't pay marketing fees and marketing support, and you're encouraged to do your own thing for your own area. There's no right or wrong answer in this case, but of course, the more guarantees you've got that there is a strong plan in place, that once you buy a certain franchise and the territories and the right to operate in those territories, you will have that marketing support, a very strong start, a marketing campaign to help you generate leads even before you open doors, or let's say a secured contract, a guaranteed revenue, or anything like that that will help you hit the ground running. That gives you more certainty and makes you feel more comfortable to invest your money in this business. So always asking yourself, what is the training that I'm going to receive once I'm being onboarded? What is the ongoing support I'm getting? Am I getting regular meetings with the franchisor, inspections, quality control, and so on? When am I going to break even? What is the projected turnover year 1, year 2, year 3? What sort of marketing support am I going to get in the first few months or the first couple of years, and so on and so on? These questions are going to paint a very important picture and will give you a good indication of how successful the franchise is, and also how involved the franchisor is in their network. And I know this can be stressful. It can be challenging to think about where to invest your savings. And that might result in a lot of questions, and you don't know what to do, and you're frustrated and you feel insecure. This is why we create those webinars for you, to support you with your questions and present to you actual good models that have done it right and have ticked all the boxes and have answered all the questions that I just mentioned. So it's now time for me to present my guest, and someone that I know from a while. This is the franchise brand Tappy Toes, and Claire Munday, who is the CEO and founder of Tappy Toes. She's got more than 15 years of teaching experience behind her, and after 10 years as a professional dancer, Claire created Tappy Toes, which is a baby and a toddler dance classes franchise. The classes became so popular, the decision was made to franchise the classes so that even more children could enjoy them. Tappy Toes can now be found in over 90 locations in the UK with over 30 franchisees. They are a dedicated vendor of P&O cruises. So on all of those cruises, you can find Tappy Toes teachers as well, and tutors. Tappy Toes has won multiple awards in franchising, including the Best Franchisor Award in 2023, Marketing Excellence in 21 and 22, Best Adaptation to Change in 2021 and 23, Best Franchisee of the Year 2023 with Virtual Franchise Awards and many more. So without further ado, I'd like to present Claire, who's a very special guest, and she's going to demonstrate and answer all of these questions that I talked to you just now. And she'll tell you a bit more about bringing the franchise brands to the GCC countries and region. Welcome, Claire. It's a real pleasure to have you.
Hello, Dani. Wow, thank you. That was quite an introduction. Thank you very much. Thanks for having me. I'm absolutely delighted to be here. And I do have a little presentation to share with you. So I'm just going to go ahead and share my screen and start the presentation. So yeah, as Dani said, I'm Claire Munday, the founder and creator of Tappy Toes. What is Tappy Toes? So we are a dance and movement franchise. As Dani said, we've won quite a few awards, which is very humbling. Our classes began just for 2-year-olds, and the demand was so strong and so big that we ended up expanding and creating new lesson plans and new syllabi, and opening it up to children as young as 6 months. So when they are sitting up, that's when we first introduce them to Tappy Toes. So we have our different syllabi. The first one is teeny toes, which is 6 months to walking. Then they move up to toddle toes, where they're just kind of finding their feet and walking to about 2.5. At 2.5 to 4 years, they move on to tots toes, which is a little bit more advanced for them, and a lot more dancey. As an alternative to tots toes, we have our ballet syllabus, which is called tiptoes. And then we have our, over in the UK, it's our reception and key stage 1 classes, where we take them into schools, and that's our top toes. So that's kind of reception year 1 and 2. So there's lots of different syllabi. They've all been tried and tested over many, many years now. The very original Tappy Toes class was almost 20 years ago in Watford, where I lived at the time. And like I said, it just became so popular that it kind of grew. We kept getting asked for classes for 18 months. And so I'd kind of let them into the class. And then it was, oh, she's a year, but she's been walking for ages. Can she join the class? So we ended up creating a bespoke syllabus for the babies as well. So there's lots of additional revenue streams available to our franchisees, our main one being our nurseries. So here in the UK, we go into nurseries on a regular basis. So every week we'll turn up to the nursery and deliver our sessions. We also offer parties, so parties from age kind of turning 1 up to 5 or 6. We'll go in, take all the props, and we run our party plans. There's tons of merchandise available for the franchisees to sell on to their customers, and that's things like onesies, hoodies, tutus, ballet shoes, and tons more. Our holiday clubs have become super popular. So over the summer, for example, here we will be running drop-in sessions where customers can pay for just a one-off session rather than booking for a whole term. And they'll come in for an hour. We do 30 minutes of dance and 30 minutes of kind of socializing, tea and coffees. So it's a really good way of like the grown-ups meeting people as well. And then obviously, as I mentioned, classes within schools where we might go in after school and do sessions, or during lunchtime, and even sometimes during the school day when they've got PE to fill, they might want dance and they'll bring us in for that. We are opening up in Dubai in September with a view to look into hotels as well and offering entertainment within hotels for the holiday makers as well. So that will be an additional revenue stream as well. So, I mean, who are we looking for? What's your current work situation? A lot of our franchisees are just sick of working really hard for somebody else, and they're desperate to do something for themselves, but perhaps they don't have their own idea of what they want to do. So a franchise is the perfect business for them. Are you not being valued in the workplace, or are you simply just looking for a more flexible career? So I know for me, I have 2 young children. It was really important for me to be able to take them to school and pick them up every day, and also to be around in the school holidays. My husband works full time, so that was super important to me. And I think that's part of the reason why Tappy Toes became the franchise that it is today, because it just suited me so well when I had my young children. And I knew I could offer that to other parents out there that wanted that. But you must be passionate about the development of early years. I can train you on all aspects of the business, but you either love little ones and watching their development, or you don't. That's something that can't really be trained or taught, and the little ones know. So yeah, you must be passionate about the development of early years. A lot of our franchisees are teachers that are just trying to come out of the profession, or they might be nursery staff, childminders, as well as just people, you know, I've got lots of people with a marketing background that wanted to do something in dance, and they danced as a child, for example. So we do have a wide range of franchisees. So the ethos of Tappy Toes is to provide a flexible and profitable business that is an absolute joy to run and fits around your family life, like I mentioned. So I say the word joy, it really is. I've actually been teaching classes myself this morning, which I just do once a week, purely because I love it. I love connecting with the families. I love seeing the children every week. And you really see a huge progression in the kids week to week. And it is an absolute joy and a privilege to be a part of. So anyone joining our network, you're not going to feel like you're working. It is absolute fun. Dani kindly mentioned we have won several awards, which is fantastic. We're really proud of that. I'm actually up for the Great British Entrepreneur Awards this year, which I will find out in November if I've been successful, but nice to be a finalist in that. But some of the ones that I'm most proud of is our franchisee support. So we have won the last, I think, 3 years now in the Virtual Franchising Awards. We've won awards for the best franchisee support. As Dani was saying, it's really important when you're looking at franchise to speak to the franchisor and speak to the other franchisees and just find out, what does that support look like? For me here at Tappy Toes, it's really important that I'm there to support my franchisees every step of the way, because if they're successful, I'm successful. If I train them up and then leave them off to go off on their own, you know, there's more of a chance they could fail. So I am there every step of the way to make sure they're on the right track. I'm checking in with them all the time. So to win that award was very, very nice. I'm really proud of that one. We are also full members of the QFA, which here in the UK is the Quality Franchise Association. There are 2 associations in the UK for franchising, the BFA and the QFA. The BFA has been around the longest. It's probably the most well-known one, whereas the QFA has been around, I think, 5 years now, so it's a newer one. When deciding which one to go with, I just really liked the Quality Franchise Association. I really liked the ethos and what they stood for, and I decided to go with that one. I joined them. They fully vet the franchise to make sure that you're doing everything that you should be and that you are an ethical franchisor, which is, again, really, really important, like Dani was mentioning. And after a couple of months of being part of the QFA, they invited me on to the board. So I'm now a board member at the QFA, which just means that I've got my finger on the pulse of what's happening in franchising. You know, if any new regulations or things like that come out, I'm there on the board, meeting every month to discuss them, and I know what's going on in the franchising world. So I think that just gives our franchisees peace of mind that I do know what I'm doing. And the final one I should mention, the one in the middle here, was an anonymous survey. A company comes in, surveys all of the franchisees. They have free reign to say whatever they like about me and about Tappy Toes. It's completely anonymous, so I have no idea who says what. And we won the Best Franchise Awards based on their feedback. We got 96% overall satisfaction. So we know that our franchisees are happy. I am more than happy for prospective franchisees to speak to any single one of them to find out their take on Tappy Toes. So there we go. So who am I and what qualifies me to be doing this? Well, Dani mentioned I was a dancer. So I danced professionally for 10 years. I traveled the world, worked on cruise ships, did musicals, music videos, all sorts of things. Alongside that, I had always been a teacher, dance teacher. I did all my dance teaching qualifications through college. I went to Lane Theatre Arts, which is a professional dance college. Did all my teaching qualifications, and then I started up Tappy Toes where I lived in Watford, and it was never intended at that point to be a big franchise. It was purely, I saw a gap in the market and I decided to fill it. At that point, there were classes for 3-year-olds, but it was ballet. So you basically had, you could do ballet when you were 3, and then when you got to kind of 6 or 7, you could start modern and tap. There was nothing else, there was nothing in between. I wanted to create something that was not ballet, an alternative to ballet. It was more kind of gender neutral, welcoming to the boys. And that's where the idea for Tappy Toes came from. And like I said earlier, it was for 2-year-olds, 2 to 3-year-olds in the beginning. Within the lesson plans, I made sure that there was something for every child. So it wasn't about running around on tiptoes like a fairy the whole lesson. We have a complete range and mixture of music. So a variety of music, from pop songs to Disney to nursery rhymes and everything in between. And they might be stomping around like a dinosaur at one point. They might be creeping around like a lion. They might be floating off like a fairy. So it's got a real range in every single lesson. Which I think really does encourage the boys in, and I'm so proud of that. Like, some of our lessons are 50-50 boys and girls. We do get a lot of boys coming into dance, which is great. So yeah, that's me, and I'll just play you a short little promo video so you can see a class in action. My name is Claire, and I am the founder and creator of Tappy Toes. Tappy Toes is a dance and movement franchise for babies and toddlers. So if you are currently working in a job that doesn't get you excited, you're not wanting to get out of bed in the morning for, then Tappy Toes could be exactly what you're looking for. It's so much fun. If you are somebody that's being taken away from your family life more than you would like, so you'd like to spend more time at home, you'd like to be around for the school runs or around in the holidays, you know, struggling to find childcare over the holidays, Tappy Toes could be the perfect business for you. So joining a franchise is a fantastic way to build and grow your own business, because it is very much your own business, but you have tons of backup and support from head office. So if ever there's an issue or a problem, somebody's got your back. Within Tappy Toes, we have several different syllabi, so all of the lessons are planned out for you. We can train you up fully on how to deliver the sessions safely. You don't need to be a trained dancer to do that. We do give you a little bit of freedom to use your own ideas and be a bit creative as well within the lesson plans. A typical day in the life of a Tappy Toes franchisee could consist of 3 or 4 classes in the morning. You then might go home, do some admin, do some marketing, and then you might have a nursery session in the afternoon. You also have the option to do after school classes if you want to, but it is very much on your terms, and we fully support your choice in that.
Running a Tappy Toes franchise is fantastic. Definitely the best thing I've ever done. I have so much freedom and flexibility.
For me, delivering Tappy Toes dance classes gives me a much better work-life balance.
I bought my franchise in September 2020, so mid-pandemic, but it's actually the best move I could have made.
I just absolutely fell in love with the syllabus. It was completely different to anything I'd done before. I had the parents in the room, and the parents could see and enjoy the classes and see the progression of the children.
And I can see myself doing this for a very long time. The training and support given by the franchise is absolutely fantastic, and I absolutely love Tappy Toes and would recommend it to anybody.
If you can imagine yourself running your own Tappy Toes business, please have a read through our prospectus at tappytoes.com/franchise. and fill out the application form on the final page. You can then join us on one of our franchise discovery hours to find out more, or book a one-to-one discovery call with me to discuss your application further. We'd love to spread the joy of Tappy Toes even further afield, so get in touch with us today. Okay, so what do you get with your Tappy Toes franchise? So you will get a large exclusive territory, which will be worked out with you. You will get a set of marketing material to start you off, so flyers, posters, roller banner. You will also get a set of ballet shoes and t-shirts to sell on to your customers, and then you will get a selection of props that you will need for your first term of classes. You obviously also get full backup, support and training. So our training usually consists of 4 days of 2 of those being practical training, so getting into the dance studio, learning the lessons, running those through until you're really comfortable with those. You don't have to be a trained dancer to deliver the sessions because they are very, very basic. It's for very young children, so it's not technical like teaching a ballet class later on. So we can train you up on that, but obviously it's a massive bonus if you've danced as a child or you have a huge interest in dance. For the Tiptoes ballet part of our syllabus, then we would want you to employ a freelance dance teacher to be able to deliver those sessions, because they are more technical. But yeah, for the bulk of it, you would be able to teach that yourself. The other 2 days consist of setting up all the back end of your business. So we make sure we set up your social media accounts, we set up your CRM, your booking system. So basically, when a customer comes onto our website to book a class, they book the session, all of that information comes directly to you into your system, and we set all of that up for you and train you on how to use it. We also train you on marketing. So as Dani was saying, there's various levels of marketing with a franchise. So we do the kind of national marketing where we will, the SEO on the website. So the website will be fully optimized for your region. So you will have a page within our website, and that will be optimized to make sure you can be found on Google. We will also set up your Google My Business listings, which are a really, really important way to be found. So all of that's taken care of, but the actual day-to-day local marketing, getting out into your communities, that will be down to you. That part will be down to you. And that is attending events, things like baby fairs and stuff like that, where there's going to be your target market there. We go through all of that and what you should be doing in order to get people into your classes. But there will be some legwork on your part to get people through the door. So this here is the franchisee satisfaction survey that I was talking about earlier, and these were just some of the top stats that we had, with 100% of our franchisees feeling valued and respected, 100% having trust and confidence in myself, feeling that standards were maintained, and 100% of them were proud and would do it again and would recommend it to you. 92% felt the head office support and the field support was excellent, and that the brand differentiates from competitors. So hopefully that gives you a little view on what our franchisees are thinking. So there are other costs involved. So the franchise cost is approximately $10,500 US, so about £8,000. The other cost that you will need, we say to have a buffer or cash flow of around $700–800 when you first start. And this will be for other miscellaneous costs that crop up. It will be for additional props that you will have to buy for your second term. Some of that will go towards marketing. So you do need to make sure you have that as well as your initial franchise fee. The other costs involved are things like your booking system. So your CRM booking system is approximately, I'm just checking my notes for dollars, but it's approximately $30 a month for that. And your advertising levy is around $65 per month. And you're also expected to spend about $65 per month yourself on marketing as well. So those are kind of the main additional costs that you'll need to think about. Yeah, I think that covers all of that. So why choose us? There are lots of franchise brands out there. As I've said, we are multi-award winning. So you know that you're getting a tried and tested brand that works. You know that the lessons are going to be well received. We have hundreds of 5-star reviews on our website. So please do go and take a look at those and just see what parents are saying about our sessions. The lesson plans have all been revamped in the last year, so they've been updated, making sure everything is still working. Where we need to, we've updated music, so it really is a current session. We do have our closed Facebook group where our franchisees can share ideas, they can seek advice. I would say, our brand is a culture of nurture, and all of our franchisees will welcome you with open arms. They are always sharing ideas, best practice, all of that. So it really does have a nice family feel to the company. The head office support is not 9 to 5, close the doors, you can't get hold of anybody. If you're stuck and you're desperate and you need help, then please pick up the phone and call me. I will be there if I can be to help you whenever you need it. We have a lot of regular extra kind of webinars and training sessions. We don't charge you extra for those. Generally speaking, they're kind of every month. We normally do it in the evenings. And this could be anything from finance training, looking at your projections, looking at your cash flow, all of that. It could be how to get into schools and nurseries, how to approach them. It could be social media, how to make reels for Instagram. I mean, there's a wide range of webinars that we host for you, and they are all recorded and they are all added to our operations manual. So if you can't make them live, you can always watch them in the future. But most importantly, it is fun. You are not going to have a dull moment. You go to your sessions, you leave with a smile on your face. The children make you laugh every single class. There's always something different happens. And it really does feel like we are part of something special, even more so since COVID, with the regression in the under fives. It was there were studies done. It was proven that some of the children regressed during COVID, which is obvious when you think about it. They weren't socializing, they weren't communicating with anyone other than their parents. And a class like Tappy Toes really, really brings them out of their shell and really helps them with those communication and language skills, their social skills, as well as the obvious things like their motor skills, their fine and gross motor skills. So it really does feel like we're making a difference to these little people. There's a couple of reviews here from customers. I particularly liked the first one. These are just two that I chose. Please do have a look at the others. Saying how Emma is always full of energy and enthusiasm. She knows all the children's names and tailors it to their individual abilities. So we are really big during our training. We talk a lot about customer service. I think it's one of the things that sets our franchise apart from others. We are very customer service based. And one of the things we talk about in our training is how important it is to learn the children's names as soon as possible, and not just the children's names, the grown-ups' names as well. When you come into a class with your little one, you've not long had a baby, you're 6 months old, it can be really nice when somebody just says, "Oh, hi Sarah, how are you today? And how's Millie doing?" rather than just, "Hi Millie's mum." So it's little details like that we really do talk a lot about. So I love that she's mentioned that in the review. And this one talking about Sophie gaining confidence and following along with the dance moves. The progression that you see in the children is unbelievable. We do offer a 3-week trial in the beginning before they book for a term. And that is because we have seen the conversion from a trial to a full-term booking when you do 1 drop-in session is much, much lower. When you do 3 sessions and they've tried it a couple of times and they're settling into the class, the conversion is really, really high for them converting to a full-time booking. So offering that 3 weeks, it really gives the child the chance to settle, to get to know you, and the parent will see progression in just those 3 lessons. And obviously when a parent sees progression, they then want to continue with that class. So imagine doing a job that you love, that makes you smile every day and leaves you available to do the school runs should you need to. So leaves you available for your own family and earns you a decent income. You would be looking to break even within 6 to 12 months. Most of our franchises are breaking even absolutely in their first year and exceeding that. So it is a low risk, it is a low cost investment and low risk, and you will be making your money back very, very soon. And that just leaves me to ask if we have any questions. So Dani, have there been any questions?
Hi, Claire. Thank you very much for the presentation. One thing I can say for sure is that your passion for the business transpires, and I can see how excited you are when you talk about your business, and it's almost like it's your little child.
It's my third baby. Definitely.
Exactly. And also children's franchises and working with children in general is a very rewarding sort of job to have. So we did have quite a few questions from the listeners. I'll start by asking you, what are some of the most common challenges of managing a franchise brand like Tappy Toes?
So managing the brand, so for me as the franchisor, like managing the brand rather than like individual franchisees. The biggest challenge is, I suppose, just making sure that everybody is always on the same page, and just, it's really important to me that the quality of the lessons that we deliver and the quality of not just the lessons, but the customer service is really important to me, that is uniformed across the brand. So wherever you are, whichever class you're attending, you feel like a valued customer and you feel like your child is getting a fantastic class. So just maintaining, I guess, the brand standards is probably the hardest thing. But I think that we do that really, really well. We do have monthly one-to-ones. So every month, I will send out a link to all of the franchisees. They can hop onto a one-to-one call with me. We can just double check that everything is going as it should be. We can talk about their challenges and all of that. And I love that time because it gives me a real insight into any challenges that they're facing, and then I can help them, and I can help them build and grow. But yeah, I suppose that, so just maintaining the brand standards. So it's kind of like if you go into McDonald's in Scotland, you want to know that you're getting the same thing if you go into McDonald's in Devon, and it's the same with Tappy Toes. I want people to recognize that it's a Tappy Toes class.
Great answer, thank you. And what made you consider, franchising out to the GCC region and the Gulf area?
Yeah, and that's a great question. I mean, firstly, I just love the region, especially Dubai. I love it out there. I think, it was, I think, a natural progression to take it outside of the UK and to go there because, there are lots of English speaking, so the language isn't a problem. There is a big expat community, so I knew that it would translate well out there. So yeah, I mean, I think that was the main reason. It was right, I'll start there and then we'll spread out from there and see what happens. But I mean, what better excuse to go and visit Dubai? I have Paisley starting in September. She's finished all the training. I'll be going out just after her launch. I want to give her a couple of weeks to settle in before I kind of turn up and sit there in her class, so I'll give her a couple of weeks, and then I'll be going out to visit just to check that everything's okay. So yeah.
Right, so you have your first franchisee for that area.
Yeah, absolutely. It's super exciting. We met, I was out there in February. We met, we chatted over coffee. She'd already seen the presentation on Zoom like this from me in the UK. So then we met for coffee, had a lovely chat. I knew she was just the perfect person to take it out there. And she is ready to go. She's got a couple of sessions in August as kind of a soft launch to do a bit of a summer, because a lot of people are away for the summer in Dubai, so it will probably be quieter then. Ready to do the full launch in September. So yeah, really, really exciting.
Right, so this takes me to our next question. So are you open to working with private individual investors or only master franchisees? I suppose
yes, I'm totally open to either. I mean, it would be lovely to get a master franchisee that wanted to oversee the whole region. That would be absolutely fantastic, and I'd be working really closely with them doing that. But Paisley out in Dubai, she is just one franchisee, so I'm also open to exploring that as well, and having managing the franchisees. I mean, it seems to be working well. There's not a massive time difference. It's not difficult in that sense. So yeah, absolutely both.
Great. And what other new markets and regions would you like to develop Tappy Toes in?
Oh, I'm just loving all these questions. Thank you, everyone. So, I mean, the next stop is probably looking like Australia. We do have the trademark out there ready to go. We did actually have a master franchise that was ready to go, and then she got diagnosed with a medical condition that meant she couldn't carry on with it. So that was really sad because we got quite far down the line with that. So I think once we've kind of launched in like the Gulf region and we've made sure that's all working really well, then I will start looking again for somebody in Australia, and that would probably be a master.
Right, okay, thank you. And how is Tappy Toes different from its competitors? Because there's quite a few children's dance brands or just children's classes. So how do you differentiate yourselves from the rest?
Yeah, that's a great question. And what I would say is our lesson plans are completely unique. There is nothing else. There are other dance brands, but there is nothing else doing exactly what we're doing. So every lesson plan, a lot of thought has gone into the structure and the way that the lessons run. So there's lots of different lesson plans, but they follow a very set structure. And the reason for that is it gets the best progression from the children, and it's been tried and tested over many years. And the other thing that I would say is we are very, very gender neutral. We make sure that there is something different in every session. So we don't follow one theme and just run with a theme. Every lesson has different themes within it, different props within it. So yeah, it is very unique. And we use a mixture as well. There's lots of dance brands that have created their own music, which is lovely, but actually we use we do have a couple of our own tracks, like our warm-up song, our goodbye song, and some of our exercises, but we like to integrate that with really well-known songs as well. And we find that for the children, they do something that they know and they hear, and they hear all the time. We just find that works really, really well. Just mix it up between the two.
That's a great answer. Thank you. Another listener wants to know, how long does it generally take to open one branch, and how involved you are when setting up a new branch?
Yeah, okay. So, I mean, it can be done really quickly. The main thing is the marketing. We like to have a good 6 weeks to do the marketing. So I would say you're probably looking at a couple of months realistically. I have launched sooner than that, but then it's a rush with the marketing. So I'd rather take a little bit more time and just make sure we do the marketing properly to get people through the door. What you don't want to do is a real rush and then not have enough children in your classes, because it's really disheartening. So yeah, so I'd say realistically 2 months. I'm pretty flexible with when we can arrange training. A lot of it can be done on Zoom. And I would be very like hands-on as much as somebody needs me. I'm there as kind of much. I don't want to micromanage anybody, but I also want to be there for the support as it's needed. So yeah.
Yeah, it's very important to help people. Some people need more help and a little bit of extra support, and others are quite autonomous.
Yeah, that's really true. And especially with what we do, like our lesson plans are very, very structured and planned, but within that there is a little bit of opportunity for those that want to add, their own little style in with it as well. But there are franchisees who don't want to do that at all. They just want to follow the plan, and that's fine, they can. But the ones that are, normally it's the ones that are dancers and dance teachers that want to give it their own little flair with a couple of tracks here and there. So we kind of we give both options.
That's great. Claire, the questions keep coming. So I'm gonna crack on. So how do you support franchisees in marketing their businesses locally?
Yeah, okay. So what we do during our training, we have a whole kind of half a day just talking about local. Oh, am I still there? I froze. Can you hear me okay? Yep. Just talking about local marketing and all the different activities that you can do. We have a whole page, more than a page, in our operations manual that goes through all of those processes and what you need to do to get your business off the ground. And I will be kind of checking in with you. We will have a marketing plan, right? Have you done this? Have you done that? You need to do this next. So yeah, it's very involved in that sense, and I will definitely be helping you every step of the way. I think I like to give the local marketing to the franchisees with the tool of knowing what to do, because they are there. They're there in that area. We are a big franchise, but they're all local business owners, and they will know their area better than I will. But there's also a lot of like the digital marketing as well. So we help you with the setting up of your Facebook ads. We sort out the Google ads, and what's the other thing? Listings. There's tons of listings just to get kind of backlinks to your page on the website. We help you with all of those. We help you go through and list all of those. So yeah, there is a lot of support with that.
Great. Yeah, marketing is so important, and as I said, especially the first few months because you don't want to open a location and just sit around and wait for clients. You want to have clients pre-subscribed, signed up for the first few classes so that you can start strong.
Absolutely. Yeah, 100%. You want to create that FOMO to the parents that they're going to miss out if they don't book and it's nearly fully booked, and you want to create that with your marketing. So
yeah. And so that's something similar that gym franchises do in the fitness classes. They create this hype and pre-subscribe a lot of people even before the gyms open. Same goes with like the kids classes, and it's a brilliant strategy to get bookings even before you opened up. Another question: do you have any success stories you can share? Perhaps a case study with like one of your franchisees, maybe with a bit more detail.
Yeah, okay. So I have, let me think one particular franchisee, Sarah, who started her business 2 years ago. She started it, got it all running. She was doing really, really well. I think she had about 12 classes a week in like the second term. They were all fully booked with waiting lists. She was doing brilliantly. And the opportunity came up to purchase her neighboring territory, because the franchisee there she'd set it up, and again she was doing brilliantly, but she'd set it up over kind of maternity leave, and then her company, she was quite a career girl, and her company asked her back, and it was an opportunity she couldn't say no. So she'd set it up over the year, and then Sarah ended up purchasing a second territory from Megan, and she's now running the 2 territories very successfully. And whilst doing that, she gave birth. So she did all of this whilst being pregnant, having her baby, and she was able to work it still around. She's got a 3-year-old and a new baby, and she was still able to work everything around them. She hired teachers to run the sessions. So she wasn't teaching any classes. She was still making a profit, sending teachers to go and run, you know, she had classes in nurseries and lots of group sessions. So yeah, I mean, she's making it a huge success. It was only 6 months ago that she took over the second territory, but it's going really, really well.
Wow, congratulations to Sarah. Sounds like she's a
Yeah,
super mom.
the baby, I know.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I've got a couple of questions of my own, because I did mention that, you know, breaking even is a very important question to ask when we're talking about an opportunity, even if it's a low investment opportunity in franchising. So on average, what is the break even point, and when is it?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, if you follow all the systems and we get the marketing right and we get people through the door straight from the off, then you could be breaking even within 6 months. Like it really is easy to make your money back. So just to give you an example, so I have 2 classes in one area that I've actually just sold it on, because I'm so busy and supporting the franchisees. For me to actually run those sessions, I don't have time to kind of build that territory. So I've just sold that territory on, but just from 2 classes on a Tuesday morning, the profit was £5,000 for the year. I don't know what that is in dollars off the top of my head, but you know, that was just 2 sessions. So we're talking like an hour of work on a Tuesday morning, and I've made £5,000, which is almost my investment back from one day, one morning. So if you do it right, it's all in the marketing, like you said, Dani. I can't stress how important the marketing is. If we do it right, we get the marketing right, and we get people through the door from day one. You know, I've had a franchisee open her first week with 150 kids in the first week across 10 classes. Another one had 120 in her first week across, I can't remember how many classes, but you can launch with over 100 kids. You know, it's definitely doable. Not everybody does. I'm not saying that, you know, you will join and you'll have 150 kids in week 1. That is with very proactive marketing, proactive social media accounts, and like we said, creating that FOMO where everyone was just like, oh, we need to book this because it's going to sell out. So yeah, it's very easy to make your money back, and I think pretty much all of them are making their money back in their first year. So it's not
okay, so it's safe to say,
yeah, it's
1
not
year
like
is,
you're waiting 5 years and you never get your investment back. You're going to make it back in your first year.
okay, great. And my last question before we wrap it up, I personally believe that people buy from people. So if someone wants to invest in your business, they want to know a little bit more about yourself. So what gets you out of bed? What keeps you going? Where do you find passion, and where you take your drive from as a person?
Well, I am a dancer through and through. Like, I have literally danced all my life since I was 3 years old. So dance is obviously a huge passion for me. So getting up and doing something I love every day, it's, you know, it's easy. It doesn't feel like working, because like today when I went to my classes, knowing that it's kind of my last class teaching them, because Jessica's going to be taking over that session, and they bought me flowers and like chocolates and cards, and all the children were just coming up for cuddles and high fives, and like just seeing those children develop over a term it's insane. Like the transformation from, I have this one little boy, Harry, who clings to his mum's leg, wouldn't really do anything, and literally after half a term of sessions he was running into the middle and doing his twirl all by himself. And I swear to God, I looked at mum and we both had a tear in our eye, because it was just like, you know, seeing this little, and he's very little, he's not even 2, very little boy, and very, very shy. And I mean, she couldn't believe it, and neither could I, to be honest. So stuff like that is just, it's so amazing. But outside of work, I have 2 wonderful children. They're 8 and 10 years old, so they definitely get me up in the mornings.
That's a great answer. Well, thank you very much for being my guest, Claire, and thank you for presenting this wonderful franchise opportunity. It certainly sounds as a great business model, but also a very rewarding business. have. For the listeners and viewers, make sure that you pin the next calendar date for the webinar that we're going to speak on. And the topic is traditional but creative cuisine concept to franchise. That's on August the 8th. So make sure you mark this in your calendar, and we'll see you then. Thank you for listening and tuning in, and I hope you found this session productive and